Hello, guys, and welcome to the Stardom Cast, your weekly audio source of all things World Wonder Ring Stardom. I'm your host, Rob Goodwin. I'm joined by Mr. Matt Turner. Happy Pride to everyone out there. Love is love.
Yeah, happy Pride Month to everybody out there. And really, every day should be Pride Day. You're absolutely right, buddy.
Absolutely.
Love is love. I am great. I am phenomenal, as always blessed. Rob Goodwin, it is absolutely gorgeous out. It is phenomenal. It's not too hot. It's not too cold. Last night, me and Amber, we did eat dinner outside on our back porch. She put up the patio, and I have about an acre of land back there.
You
So
do,
it's like
yeah.
it's like a Disney movie back there this time of year. We got the deer, we got the birds chirping. We got sometimes we get little foxes running around. We get the chipmunks. We get the squirrels. We get the rabbits. Like a Disney movie. So it was nice, Rob. It was nice, and that's probably what I'm going to be doing as soon as I get done here. Probably going to have dinner outside and work on a little something I'm doing special for you fantastic Patreon members, which we'll get into in a moment, brother. But it is phenomenal. It is gorgeous out. I am doing great. How is everything in your neck of the woods, my friend?
Not too bad. Not too bad. We've just come off our lovely weather stint. So we're now into sort of that horrible British thing where we have about, and I've said this before on the podcast, where we have about 4 seasons in a day. So this morning it was raining. Then it was stupidly hot at like 11 o'clock. Then it started raining again. And now it's mild. It just seems to flip between those two temperatures. I think we've got about 2 weeks worth of rain incoming. So hopefully, Matt, when you and the lovely Amber do come over to the UK for All In, you'll bring the nice weather with you, because God knows you are not ready for this fierce British mild that we've got going on at the moment.
I'm sure we can handle it. Northeastern Pennsylvania, we're famous for having fake spring 1, fake spring 2. Oh no,
Indeed,
it's
yeah.
now going to snow the end of April. So yeah, we're all ready to rock and roll. But you can't control the weather, my friend. You just got to deal with it one way or another. If I know my wife, and I'd like to know my wife pretty well.
Your
By the way, I
knife.
do my knife. I do actually have a funny story that we'll get into in a moment. She will overpack, and
Yeah.
she will have a little bit of everything. So I'll give you a quick little funny story, Mr. Robert, going for you and of our phenomenal listeners over here on the World of Joshi podcasting network for the Stardom Cast. So, as you may know, my birthday is in May. So, we have a burger chain in the States called Red Robin. I don't know. Do you guys have them over there in England?
Not that I'm aware of, no.
Okay, so if you sign up for like their rewards program during your birthday month, which again for me is May, you get a free burger as long as you purchase another meal. So we do it with Lily, we do it with Amber, and we do it with me. So obviously May is over. So Amber's like, "Hey, this is when it was still May, just this past weekend." She's like, "Hey, Saturday, let's go out to Red Robin and get your free burger. We'll go out for lunch." I was like, "No problem, absolutely." Now my wife loves shopping. She loves shopping almost as much as I love pro wrestling, which is saying a lot.
It's a lot, that is.
Which is saying a lot. So now in this right by the Red Robin, there's a giant shopping plaza. There's a Walmart, there's a Sam's Club, there's a movie theater, and there's a Kohl's, Rob. There is a Kohl's. I don't like Kohl's. And let me tell you why I don't like Kohl's. When me and my wife first started dating, we went to this Red Robin to eat. And then she's like, "Oh, I have to go to Kohl's to get something." She was in there 2.5 hours. The reason why I said it was maybe 2:15, maybe 2 hours, 15 minutes, maybe 2.5 hours. It was definitely over 2 hours. The reason why I remember that was if I knew that she was going to be in there for that long, I would have went over to the movie theater to see any movie, because most movies are anywhere between 90 minutes to 2 hours. We come back home and or to her house, and her mother, now my mother-in-law, said, "Where did you guys go?" And she said, "We went to Kohl's." And she looked at me and she's like, "Oh my goodness, did you survive?" I was like, "How did you know?" She goes, "When Amber goes to Kohl's, it's an event. It's an event." I said, "We were in there for about 2.5 hours." Now, if obviously fast
Oh, she
forward
didn't
X
leave
amount of
you
years,
outside then?
I walked around. I went to
Right, okay.
the GameStop. I went to the Subway. I went to the Walmart. I walked around every other place in that plaza, and she was still in there. Anywho, so I know when we're on our way to Red Robin, I'm like, it's not just Red Robin and come back home. It's not happening. Not happening. Now, I got to keep in mind this is Saturday, my only day that I don't have actual work, but I do spend 8 to 10 hours doing podcasting stuff, which I absolutely love. So I know for a fact we are not just going to Red Robin coming home. And I am fully aware I'm going to throw a childlike fit when she asks me if we can go somewhere else. Go to Red Robin, order our food. And she goes, hey, we got to go to Sam's Club after this. And I was like, you've got to be kidding me. I'm overselling. I am Shawn Michaels in that SummerSlam match like Hogan. I'm overselling. You guys, she goes, well, we need bananas and we need fruit for your protein shakes and peanut butter protein. I was like, all right, fine. But like, we got to make it snappy. I got stuff to do. We leave Red Robin, and on the way to Sam's Club, we don't make it there first. We pull into Kohl's. Now I'm ready to lose it, but not really. I'm overselling. What are we doing? I was like, if I knew this was going to happen, I would have brought my iPad. I would have brought a notebook. Like, I got stuff I got to work on. She's like, I literally just ordered towels. They're already ready for pickup. I'm going to walk in and walk out. I will be done in less than 2 minutes. I was like, all right, I'll sit here and wait. It's like, you know what? I'm going to tell on her. I'm going to be like a school child. I'm going to text her mother, let her know what she's doing. As I go to text her mother, Amber comes back in the car. She was less than 2 minutes. Bless her. She was right. She's on the phone on speaker with her mom. I was like, oh. Now, Amber and her mother, my mother-in-law, they're like best friends. My mother-in-law is an absolute sweetheart. So she's like, hey, mom. She's like, we're actually on our way to Sam's Club. Do you need anything while I'm here? She's like, and so they're talking on speaker. I was like, Misty, can you believe this? My mother-in-law's name is Misty. So I go through the whole spiel, right? So now we start driving, and we're driving from Kohl's to Sam's Club, which is like 50 yards away. And there's all these signs that says stop for pedestrians crossing. Keep in mind, there wasn't any pedestrians crossing, but Amber is going through the stop signs, not stopping at all. I'm like, what are you? Now she's still on the phone. And I was like, Missy, she's blowing through stop signs and I'm hearing the beeping. I go, what is this beeping? She doesn't have her seatbelt on. So now,
oh no,
no seatbelt, going through stop signs and in my car. And Rob, you know, my car is my company car. So it's like, can you believe? Unbelievable. However, Rob, the wrestling gods were looking out for me, because as soon as we go into Sam's Club, and now I'm flipping, but not really. I'm just selling. I don't care what she does. So as long as she didn't smash my car, which she didn't. Even if she did, I like, yeah, we hit a deer. Anywho, shouldn't be saying that on air. But we go into Sam's Club and we walk in there, and I was like, this better be quick. They have the 1-Up arcade machines on sale, and they have the WrestleFest one. I was like, oh, how about this? This is nice. They have the whole display put up, and I was like, turn the on button, and it came on. And she's like, I'll be back for you in about 20 minutes. I said, you enjoy your time. The wrestling gods, Rob, even though she took me shopping to 2 places that I didn't want to go to, was driving my car, no seatbelt, going through stop signs, on the phone with their mother, walking to Sam's Club. WrestleFest, baby. The wrestling gods always looking out for me, buddy. That was my weekend, which was great.
There you go. There you go. I thought you meant like the little ones that you could buy. And I was like, I'm sure you already have a full size one.
It's a full size one. It was, but that one was the one that my friends modded with like 2,000 arcade games. This is the one they just came out with maybe about 6 or 7 months ago.
Oh, yeah.
I know which one. Licensings to like the Legion of Doom's not in there. Sergeant Slaughter's not in there. And I think the $1 Million Man. Like there's like 4 guys they couldn't get licensing to. So it's that one. It's the official one. But I was like, I'm still going to play WrestleFest. And I won the Royal Rumble, Rob. I put the Royal Rumble on and I squashed in the Royal Rumble, got my peanut butter protein and got home safe, and then watched a whole bunch of Sari versus Chiro Hashimoto matches. Wink for what's something we're going to talk about in a few minutes.
There you go. There you go. I love the idea that they didn't get the licensing for the $1 Million Man. So it's like the million penny fella or something like that.
No, he's not even in the game. Like the Legion of Doom.
Oh, they're not even in the game.
No, like the Legion of Doom is your final boss in that game. It's my all-time favorite game, period, of any game ever. And you have to beat the Legion of Doom. They're the final bosses. And I guess when you play the Saturday Night's Main Event tag team mode, when it comes to the final bosses, it's just 2 random characters. Like it's like maybe like Jake Roberts and like Smash. Like it's just 2, whatever the AI goes to, just 2 random characters.
Yes, those 2 famous people that teamed up all the time, Jake Roberts and Smash. The Smashing Serpents. That'd be a great tag team name. There you go.
Ladies and gentlemen.
There you go. Ladies and gentlemen, we've got what is presumably, obviously, we don't know this at the time, but it's hopefully going to be a shorter episode this week. We've obviously got two shows to talk about, the shows in Kobe and the shows in Kyoto as well. They were two tour shows, so not a great deal happened in terms of storyline progression. We have got a couple of bits of news to talk about. We do finally have someone joining a new faction. Not the person you'd think, and certainly not the faction you'd think, but it's happened anyway. We have got Rian in the Pro Wrestling Wave Catch the Wave tournament. She secured another victory. We've got Hazuki in AEW as well. We've also got some thoughts ahead of the conversion on the 20th of June. Again, really well-built story between Sayaka Kurara and Suzu Suzuki. Something on social media has really piqued my interest in terms of past June pay-per-views and past June events as well. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. And of course, we've got Matt's favorite segment of the Stardom cast. We've got another World of Joshi tenable for him to attempt at the end of the show. But before we get to any of that, Mr. Turner, what, dear sir, what is coming up on the World of Joshi Patreon this week?
First of all, thanks to everybody that has joined, past, present, and future. As of this morning, we're over 140 people subscribed to our Patreon. They can't get enough of us, Rob, on the Stardom Cast, the Marigold Standard, and Talk Joshi, that they want more of me and you. So, again, thanks to everybody, past, present, and future. I know there's a lot of people that are kind of looking around at the giant menu of the 4.5 years and definitely counting and growing of just the great stuff there. So thanks to everybody for that. Now, let me tell you what is coming up on the Patreon network here on the World of Joshi Podcasting Network. This past weekend, I did a little retro show review for Tokyo Joshi Pro, a really fantastic show that I think that if you do have Wrestle Universe and you haven't seen this show, you definitely need to go out of your way to watch it. It is Grand Princess 2024, a must-see main event with Miyu Yamashita versus Miyu Watanabe. Rob, there is a wild tag match with the Magical Sugar Rabbits, which is Yuka Sakazaki and Mizuki, versus Chris Brooks and Emi Sakura. It is, let's just say, Tam Nakano and Saya Kamatani are not the only ones to jump off the entranceway in Sumo Hall. That's all I'm going to say. There's obviously a really great match with Daisy Monkey versus Yuki Aino and Ryo Mizunami. And of course, Rob, Maki Itoh versus Minoru Suzuki, because that's a match you need to tie this event together. So I did a complete review of that phenomenal show from Tokyo Joshi Pro. That is on your Patreon feed. Also on your Patreon feed, we dropped earlier this week alternate commentary. Just because, Rob, I think it was very timely. I went back and watched a really hidden gem of a match when you talk about Utami's career, Micah's career, and really the great catalog of the World of Stardom Championship. A match that I don't think gets praised enough for being how great it is. I go back to the final night of the 2024 Cinderella tournament as Micah defends the World of Stardom Championship against Utami Hayashi. Just that alternate commentary is on your feed. If you haven't seen it in quite some time, definitely take the time to watch that one, because that is really an instant classic when it comes to, the great catalog of Utami, the great catalog of Mike, and the great catalog of the World of Stardom Championship. Almost a forgotten match because we knew Utami was on her way out. So we kind of knew the result going in, but still a really, really terrific match. And then, Rob, and then what's going to be on the feed more than likely this weekend. The homework's done. I haven't recorded it yet. More than likely be on your feed. Part 3, the final chapter of my review of Mayu Iwatani's run as IWGP Joshi champion. Now, full disclosure, I am not reviewing the Fujimoto match on there because Fujimoto gets injured, and I don't like that. So that match will not be on there. However, the reviews, this will be Toni Storm, Momo Watanabe, Azumi, and Shiri. So I did watch in succession on the same day the Momo match from Historic Crossover, the Azumi match from the Tokyo Dome, and the Shiri match. And boy, howdy, Rob, I was a happy camper because those are 3 of the best matches like you'll ever see, maybe ever, in wrestling. Just 3 great matches. The Toni Storm match was really terrific as well. So that'll put a bow on the 3-part series of Mayu Iwatani's IWGP Joshi run, and I'm ranking them every single match from the tournament to the Kyrie match, the Mercedes match, all the way to the final match with Shiri. So I have them all ranked Everything's ready to go. I just got to record it. That will more than likely be on. You're trying to figure what's your top few matches.
Do you know what? That's exactly what I was doing. I was like, I mean, those final three matches, that Momo, Azumi, and Syuri 1, 2, 3 punch. Good Lord.
I think they all made my top five. Like just to give you an idea, I think the Suri match
Yeah.
and at All-Star Grand Queendom 2, if
Yep.
this was the Olympics, it wouldn't even make a medal. Like it wasn't in my top three.
Wow.
That's how great this run was. That's how, literally, to the point, Rob, we might have to do a roundtable discussion of like the greatest championship runs in Stardom history. We have to throw that in there with the
God,
Yeah,
absolutely.
it's so good. It is so good.
Just in terms of tenure, like 700 plus days. I mean, you just don't have title runs like that in Stardom, really. I mean, I think we've had 3 title runs aside from Mayu's that have been 600 days plus. So again, just having that as one of the best wrestlers in Stardom, full stop, to then have the catalogue of matches that she does during that reign. You know, we haven't even talked about the Kyrie match just before she won it, because again, it doesn't technically count as her lineage, but again, that match was outstanding. The Utami match during the tournament was fantastic. There's some real hidden gems in that run.
Yeah, the Stephanie Vicker match, and again, that's all on there.
Yeah.
For and again, I know we have a lot of newer listeners to the Patreon. I act on part one. It's actually the tournament leading up to it and the Kyrie match. So that's all on there, and I put those in the ranking as well. Even though she loses the Kyrie match, even though the Utami and Momo matches aren't championship matches, but they're in the tournament, I rank those as well. So that's part. I think it's 14 matches, all part of the ranking. And the reason why I divided up into 3, a couple years ago, I did the full Saya Kamatani 17 matches for Wonder of Stardom Championship. And I remember it was in the summer. I was sweating, and it was like 2 hours and 40 minutes. I did it all in one fell swoop. I was like, I just want to divide it up because I think in this way it'll kind of give everything its own kind of special episode. So that's why I did it into 3. So again, more than likely, folks, that'll be on your feed this weekend. And then what I have coming up, I tease a little bit. I'm going to tell you what I'm doing. The homework is about 50% complete. I'm bringing back the rivalry reviews. We've done so many of them with Io versus Mayu, Mayu versus Shiri, Tam versus Saya Kamatani, Kid versus Zumi, so on and so forth. I haven't done one in quite some time, but I'm dipping my toe out of the Stardom water, and I'm going to Suri versus Chihira Hashimoto. I just think that their matches have been so good. It deserves its own episode. So I'm doing a couple of matches before Suri left to go to WWE. So there's going to be 2 matches from Sendai Girls from 2019. Then there's going to be the 2 matches for the Suriism shows, which I believe was Suriism Chapter 1 and Suriism Chapter 3. I am definitely doing, Rob, because I know you're thinking, I'm definitely doing the tag match with Suri and Mayu versus Veni and Chihiro Hashimoto. That's definitely going to be on the list. The match from last year of Suri versus Chihiro Hashimoto from Hashimoto's anniversary show from Cork and Hall, that's going to be on there. And then if I can find it, just because once it went off the Suriism pay-per-view, haven't been able to watch it, from the Yokohama Budokan, Spark Rush versus Shiri and Chihiro Hashimoto. If I can find that in time, I will put that on the list. So yes, folks, the rivalry review, it's back. It's going to be back with a heavy hitter, Suri versus Chihiro Hashimoto. And also what I'm doing, Rob, is, as you know, as you can feel it, it's coming up, 5-star season. Every second, it's getting closer and closer and closer. So what I'm doing, I'm getting in the festive mood, Rob. Getting the festive mood. I'm going to be doing a few 5-star Grand Prix runs. Now, over the years, I've done Julia 2022. I've done Mayu, I think 2024. I've done a lot of these. So I kind of put something out there in the on the Twitterverse, and I said, hey, I'm taking suggestions. I'm going to do a couple of these between June and the end of the 5-star. I might do 3, I might do 4, I might do 5 between now and September. I'm just taking some suggestions. Rob, the suggestion I got the most, not even joking, is Tam in 2024, where she didn't even win a match. She didn't even win a match. I don't know if I'm going to do it, but somebody suggested something to me. It didn't even cross my mind until I saw it. And I think I'm going to do it. Rena from last year. Such a star-making performance.
Yeah.
I think that's what I might do. So again, guys, there might be 3, there might be 4, there might be 5 between now and the end of the 5-star. Any suggestions? Let me know, and then go through the catalog. There's so many that I've done over the past 4 years. So again, I can't thank enough to everybody that has supported not only the World of Joshi podcast, but Stardom Cast, and of course our Patreon. So it's a big thank you. I'm even working, more than I already do to get out some really great content, and happy to do it, my man. Happy to do it because again, more than likely after dinner, it's a gorgeous day. I'm going to sit outside with the iPad and watch Suri and Shiro Hashimoto drop each other on their heads because I can't think of a better way to end my day, my friend.
To be fair, I watched Bull Nakano versus Aja Kong from 1990 on my lunch break today, where Bull Nakano stabs at Aja Kong's arm with those pair of scissors. So I was like, I can't think of anything that screams lunchtime like this.
It's funny because you're watching arm work, and I was watching on my lunch break. I was watching Suri versus Shiro Hashimoto. I was watching Suri do the double stomp to Shiro Hashimoto's arm. Usually, she does 48 versions of it to the chest, no to the arm. And I'll say this real quick: the first match I watched with Suri and Shiro Hashimoto was from 2019. I've never seen the match before. It was in Shinjuku face, and I was like,
"Of course,
I wonder if she's gonna jump off the table." Rob, she does. So this wasn't a post WWE thing. This must have been a Shuri and Shinjuku face must jump off the table onto any opponent. So I was like, that's been her gimmick for a long time, brother.
Love it. Absolutely love it. Of course, patreon.com/World of Joshi, as Matt has mentioned. So many bonus episodes in so many different categories you can get there, as well as our whole podcast archive free of ads for as little as $1 a month. You also get, for $1 a month, access to our Predictions League, and you get to take on the likes of our current prediction champion, Berry420, and Mr. Adkins, who both came out on top during the Queen's Dynasty predictions. We also want to give a big shout out to our latest patron, Chris Colvin, who joined in the week as well. Patreon.com/the Stardom Cast. No, World of Joshi, /World of Joshi. That was because I was on autopilot.
Yeah,
that was because I was on autopiled.
4 years of every week saying that, Rob.
That's
okay,
what it is. That's what it
correcting
is.
yourself. Because I was like, is it?
Sure, that's not what it is.
You'll find it.
Let's talk a little bit about the conversion then, and a little bit of the state of Stardom as well. So we were talking last week, and we actually spoke at length about Sayaka Kurara and Suzu Suzuki. And I know a couple of patrons as well have chimed in about how it is interesting, the dynamic, because it does feel very up in the air as to who is going to come out of this pay-per-view as the World of Stardom champion. It's not nailed on that Sayaka Kurara comes out with the belt, but then again, it's also not a done deal that Suzu Suzuki beats Sayaka Kurara. However, what they have done spectacularly well, especially during the KBS All Show we're going to be talking about, is they have built that feud superbly. And there's two reasons I brought this up. One, because I think the build has worked really well. The story of Suzu Suzuki saying that Sayaka Kurara isn't strong enough to be a champion, isn't strong enough to lead the company, and ultimately Sayaka Kurara having to prove herself to Suzu Suzuki almost, I think is a really interesting dynamic that they've gone for. But also, there is a lot of rumor that and a lot of rumblings that this June pay-per-view could have big connotations. Now, obviously, just right off the bat, Stardom, the English Stardom Twitter page, we_are_Stardom, have actually called the conversion the most pivotal pay-per-view of the year. So you look back at what has happened over the conversions past. You've had Bozilla debut last year. You had the dissolution of Queen's Quest. You had Mika Iwata become the white belt champion, dethroning Sioriano. You've got, going back even further than that, the June pay-per-view where Starlight Kid turned her back on Mai Iwatani, despite Mai Iwatani fighting her way through all of Ueda Tai, and then Kid going, nah, you're all right. You've got Koguma. That all happened on June 12th at Tokyo Dream Cinderella. So many pivotal things in Stardom's history seem to fall on June 12th. And there's been a lot of stuff on Twitter about that today. I know Peps has put something out on Twitter about, how this feels like less a capping off of storylines and more a jumping off point as we head into the summer and the autumn or the fall for our American listeners. And Matt, I'm intrigued. Obviously, we are heading into 5-star season, as you mentioned. Now you want to talk about ticket sales because ticket sales went on sale over either today or over the last couple of days. But what are your thoughts first about the Sayaka Kurara and Suzu Suzuki story? Are you any more moved in terms of who you think is going to come out of that pay-per-view as Red Belt champion? Do you think we see some sort of seismic shift? Obviously, we have got significant numbers now of Stardom talent without factions. Is it just a case of faction alliances, new factions, faction dissolution? Do we see a shock title change? Do we see a shock debut or a return? What are your thoughts heading into this pay-per-view in June?
I mean, yeah, there's a lot. I mean, look, it's really interesting the way this match has been built. Sayaka and Suzu, they're getting my money anyway. Stardom, all these Joshis, they're gonna, because I support it. They're obviously gonna get my money. But the way it's been built, it's like I was interested in it to begin with because we talked about when we did our review of Queen's Dynasty. It's like, yeah, we think Sayaka is gonna retain, but like, where do they do with Suzu? Now the way they've been building it up, I'm a little closer to maybe Suzu does take the belt. I'm still right now. Obviously, this isn't my prediction. I'll do my prediction when we preview the show. I think next week will be the preview, right? Because the show's the 20th. So I think next week would be our preview. Or 2 weeks.
Excuse me, 2 weeks. Yeah, it'll be 2 weeks.
2 weeks. So I mean, as of right now, I'm still gonna say Sayaka, but the way they've been building, the matches have been great. Like when they get in the ring with each other, there's no feeling out process. It's just like all gas, no breaks. And they have really great chemistry, considering we've never really seen Suzu and Sayaka in like a big tag match or big singles match. Like it really seems like it's working. The promos on social media have been great. The backstage promos have been terrific. They're doing a great job building this up, and I'm really intrigued to see how it goes. I think the match is going to be terrific. Again, Sayaka Kurara is a really great wrestler. Suzu is one of the best wrestlers in the best wrestling company, in my opinion, which is Stardom right now. So I think the match is going to be terrific. They're doing a great job with it. Now, as far as what happens, we don't know, considering the fact that we do have an individual by the name of Utami Hayashishita now in this company. So are we going to see her join a faction? We will talk about KBS Hall show when there's a certain established faction, the only established faction that's still there, that reached out to Utami and said, hey, join this company or join this faction. So does she join a Stars? Does she, come back with Queen's Quest? Does she, if she comes up with King's Journey, Rob, I'm going to be like, come on.
Oh my God.
Can you imagine?
That was genuinely one of the worst things of her leaving Marigold, was the dream of King's Journey left with her. And I was like, oh, we're done. We're done. Can you imagine if after all of this, she just turns heel and joins Hate?
Oh, you know what? That's a possibility.
It wouldn't surprise. I wouldn't be 100% shocked if it happens. I don't think it will at all. But it wouldn't surprise me if they go down the sort of long storytelling road of Utami trying to bring Saya Kamatani back from the darkness, from inside the darkness itself. I'm really, really intrigued as to what happens when Momo Watanabe comes back. Because obviously Momo Watanabe was the one whispering to Saya Kamatani, bringing, the whole Queen's Quest thing into disrepair. It was Momo Watanabe that sort of baited Saya into that match in the first place at the first conversion where Queen's Quest ended up dissolving. And it wouldn't surprise me, mate, if this is where Momo comes back.
Keep in mind, Rob, you talk what happened the year before Queen's Quest. The Queen's Quest was the cage match.
Yes, the cage match, of course.
That gets me all.
And that was June.
Yeah, that gets me all dusty onions. And all of a sudden, like, who's cutting onions at 6 a.m?
Incredible match. One of Stardom's best.
So if you think about it, Rob, they literally can go from year to. I mean, this could be, hey, this is a 3-year story. Like it really is, because it was like, you remember the lead up to and I was telling Andy Head when we talk about that cage match, both off and on air, like, brother, I wish you were watching Stardom like weekly, like how we were. You would have gotten so much more out of it. Like those last 2 shows leading up to the cage match. I think it was Summer Sunrise or something like that. The name of the show was, where Momo gave at the end of the matches.
Oh yeah,
Momo
what
gave
was it?
Kamatani the bat. Momo gave Kamatani the bat. I think it's called like Summer Sunrise or something. As you're looking up, you can look up things now, buddy. I just want to make sure that you don't freeze.
No, it's fine. Touch wood. We've changed internet, or we've stayed with the same person and just changed sort of what our package. Touch wood. It's working at the moment, so let's not tempt it, please.
But again, I totally agree. I think Momo, now that you mentioned Momo, will probably come back, because again, she was in that tag match for Saki Kashma's
Stardom Sunshine.
and it was something with Sun.
June 25th.
See, they again, then the conversion's the 20th, 21st,
20th.
So again, we're right around the end of June with these shows. I think you're right. I think Momo comes back, because we did see her a little over a month ago in that Saki Kashima farewell match, and she did say, "I'm not 100%. I'm just coming back." She worked like she wasn't injured, and then during the giant run-ins between Hate and Cosmic Angels at the main event of All-Star Grand Kingdom, she was the most active. Like, she looked like she was really well. So, and again, she doesn't need to be 100% to get involved. Again, we've seen it. So I think you do have a Momo Watanabe return here in some way. Does she turn heel? Does she help or turn face? Does she do something with Utami? Do we see something? Man, there's so much, because there's so many moving parts. We're going into the 5-star season. We don't know what the brackets are going to look like. Again, we're getting into the ticket sales, because I just looked at them today. I'm like, how? But with no brackets or nobody officially announcing, and we'll get into a moment. It's really interesting. But I think if they're teasing something like, hey, something always happens this show, it's got to be something with Utami. Like, it's not going to be like Ann Kanai really never wanted to join Cosmic Angels. She wanted to join the Itoh Respect Army. Like, no offense, but I think it's going to be something on that. What the heck's wrong with you, Matt Turner? I think it's going to be something on that level. I really do. The card looks really good from the title matches that we have. The stuff they've kind of teased. We still don't know what Utami's doing. We still don't know what Sai is doing. My guess is you'll probably have maybe Utami across the ring from Sai in some sort of tag match, but ultimately might be like the biggest thing happening on that show, because of what may or may not happen. We may have a Bozilla return, Rob. Again, I mean, I saw her in Vegas. She looked like she's ready to kick some ass.
I mean, what, 6 months? She did have surgery on the ACL, though. Now she is an absolute machine. I don't. Obviously, we don't know if it's I can't remember if it was a complete tear or not. But obviously, the sort of prognosis for a torn ACL with surgery is 9 months. She tore it on the 10th of January. So, you'd be looking at September. However, if there's anyone on this roster to defy those odds, I'd put money on Bozilla.
Yeah. And again, she may not be clear. It might be something where she comes back and she's joining she's joining King's Journey, and maybe she just punches Ruak in the throat. Like, maybe that's all that she does,
What's Ruak done?
I have no idea, because she was the jerk in that match that Saya so yeah.
Beware the hate crate, of course.
Yeah, again, if you're gonna get over on one punch and you have to punch one person in hate, that's an actual heel to get over. I think Ruak is a safe bet, right? She's not.
Big Show made the late part of his career on that. Just one punch, win.
Boom. That's all you got to do. So, yeah, we'll see what happens. I'm interested, but if you're asking, I think it'll be something with Momo Watanabe. I think it's going to be something with Momo to do with Saya and Utami. They can play off the story they did at the show in 2023, where it was Queen Quest versus Oedo Tai, now known as Hate, where again, at the very end of that, it did look like that, Momo gives the bat to Saya. Is Saya going to hit Utami? Because they were teasing that in like the 4 or 5 weeks leading up to it. And then Momo really put the gas to that towards the end of those preview tag matches by constantly giving Saya the bat. Fast forward a year later, Utami has left not only Queen's Quest, but obviously the company, to go to Marigold. And then we did have the whispering of the ears, with Momo and Saya. And you do remember there was a brief moment where Momo did turn on Hate, or I think they were still a Oedo Tai at that time, and then looked like she was going to go back with Saya. And it was the biggest pop. I mean, it was done so well. It was like, oh, geez, like it's there. That trigger is there when they're ready to pull it. Is the 20th the time to pull it? Is it something that they play off from years past? They really can. It's really crazy how this all aligned up. And the fact that Utami went away for 2 years to help build this new company. And again, I thought she did a phenomenal job and now is back. It's like, hey, we have this that we can go back to that the long-term Stardom fans can really, really sink their teeth into. It's interesting. I think it's going to be definitely something to do with Momo, Saya, and Utami. And then you can throw maybe other members in there, whether it's Rina, Tora, Azusa Inaba, so on and so forth. So that's, if you're asking me what I think it's going to be, I think it's going to be something to do with Momo and Utami and Saya, the way that they're hinting towards it. But let's say you partner.
You say that. I'm glad you've said that, because Stardom Sunshine 2023, June 25th, June 25th, Yoyogi. The Conversion 2024, the Dissolution of Queen's Quest, June, Yoyogi National Gymnasium. This pay-per-view, The Conversion 2026, June 20th, Yoyogi National Gymnasium. This venue is intrinsically linked in the history of Queen's Quest, especially the end of Queen's Quest. Therefore, Utami, Saya, and Momo Watanabe are intrinsically linked to this venue. It wouldn't surprise me at all if this is where we get some sort of at least interaction between the three, or at least between, Momo and Utami. Again, I know that Utami is not an official member of Stardom, but she's now got a roster page.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So she's now on the roster page and she's got her own page on the website. So, again, she might well still be a freelancer because Azusa Inaba has got her own as well. But it does appear that she is going to be here for the long haul, at least for now. But yeah, I think I can't see Hanan dropping the title. I can't see Syuri dropping the title to Rina Yamashita. Obviously, at the moment, we only know 3 of the matches for this pay-per-view. I'm still undecided about Sayaka Kurara and Suzu Suzuki. Again, I love the story that they're building. Sayaka Kurara having to prove to Suzu Suzuki the attack backstage at Kyoto to prove that she has the fire, the tenacity to be champion. And it is almost about gaining the respect of Suzu. I still don't know what the right way to pay that storyline off would be. Obviously it would be for Sayaka Kurara to win, but does that damage Suzu? Is that right for the company going forward? What's the plan for Sayaka Kurara's reign as a whole? What is the right story for her to lose the belt in? I don't know. I'm still undecided, and I'm still not sure which camp I fall into as to where that result goes. I'd love Bozilla to come back. I don't think she will. I think it might come too soon for her, though it would be a very poetic moment for her to come back at the place you've debuted in. But again, I've said before, if anyone is to defy those odds, it is Bozilla. I did release, just looking at the state of Stardom, I did release the facts and figures of May 2026 over on Patreon. It's free. You can access it. It's not behind a paywall or anything. And it was quite interesting because May, on a very, very surface level look, the general attendance is down quite significantly in May from May last year. But when you delve into it, that's nothing to do with Kurara being on top. It's because they've run 9 shows in May this year and ran 13 last year. That's the big thing. And I think, Steve Caclamanos commented on the post, and he actually said a far better metric is to look at the averages. And I think the average for May this year was 797 per venue, whereas I think in 2025 it was 800 and something, 800. It was marginally over 800. So there's not actually a big disparity between the two averages. I'd be more intrigued to look at the attendances in maybe July, August time, post 5-star, if Sayaka Kurara comes out of the tournament still as champion, as more of a metric for how she's being accepted as champion, because she's still getting good receptions. And I think this story with Suzu could be really, really important for her growth. Even if she does end up losing the red belt to Suzu, I think it could be really important for her as a performer.
Yeah, I mean, it's Suzu Suzuki. She's a phenomenal wrestler, and we've seen Su.
She
I mean,
is.
Suzu's a great wrestler, but when she's tapping the shoulder for these main events, they've all been great. You know, the
Hmm.
Julia matches we talked about it. Micah, we talked about this last week. The Micah match. I think the Kamatani red belt match that she had at the beginning of last year is her best match she's ever had thus far. She's going to have phenomenal matches. So you know, Suzu win, lose or draw is going to go out. She's in the main event of a show that's drawing really well. Again, you talked about the numbers. I just looked at the tickets. All but two sections for this show are either sold out or nearing a sellout. And I forget, I think they can do close to 3,000 in this venue. I
Mm,
think, pending how it's scaled, but it does look like there's a lot of sections that were on sale. So she's going to be the main event of a show that's going to have a lot of eyes on it. One, Stardom is as hot as it's ever been. You know, two, again, they're teasing something big happening on this show. You got Tommy back, the Sai Kamatani thing, you know, the Momo Watanabe thing that we talked about. So Suzu's going to go out of her way to have a great match because she's a professional. Again, win, lose, or draw. I'm really intrigued to see what happens. I'm excited for the match. Again, these preview tags that we've literally gotten since day one of after Queen's Dynasty, which we knew what direction we're going. Their interactions have been fantastic, especially in the main event of the Kobe show, which we'll talk about here in a little bit, partner. So I'm excited for the show. I'm excited for all the matches that are announced. Again, they did tease quite a bit of other matches and even like number one contenders matches. Like we
mm.
know eventually it's going to be O2 line versus FWC. That might happen in Yoyogi at the conversion. And they already have Micah and Hanako and a couple other teams are vying for that number one contenders position. So again, very much like going in and coming out of Queen's Dynasty, we already knew our title matches and then the title matches following that up. It looks like they're kind of teasing that between now and the 20th of June, because again, we do have two shows this weekend as well. So I think we're going to start getting some movement of other title matches. And again, what's Utami doing? What's Saya doing as well? So not only do the matches in place look really good, but the potential of things coming up as well. I think Stardom's finally on all cylinders. And then again, Rob, once all the smoke clears, there's no rest for the wicked because we have an absolutely what could be the most loaded 5-star Grand Prix of all time. We talked about it last week. It's like who's going to be in this that wasn't last year? Who can you possibly take out? It doesn't make any sense to really take anybody out. And it's just like we would probably have Shuri in there, Mike in there, Hazuki, more than likely Utami, four big names that weren't in there last year. You mentioned Maki Itoh as well. Rian's stock has gone up quite a bit. So, man, I'm excited. Stardom has got a lot of momentum going on, my friend. That is for sure.
Talk to me about these ticket sales then, because I know that you were very, very, very excited about the state of the 5-star Grand Prix initial ticket rush.
Yeah, and again, I mean, I've seen shows where there's 50 people in the crowd. I'm like, this show was a phenomenal show, but numbers don't lie. We talk all the time. Stardom is just continuing from 2021, 2022, 23. They're continuing to get bigger. So I noticed I think, yeah, just today that the ticket sales have gone on sale for every single show in the 5-star Grand Prix. So it was either today or yesterday. I know it was soon, but I just noticed it today. Again, I looked at Yoyogi, all but two sections are all but sold out for the show. Looks like the shows this weekend are pretty well going to sell out. Now, I did look at, I believe they've changed the name of the venue. Night one is Oda Ward, right, Rob? But they changed. I think it's the same venue, right? I think they changed the name of it because I think we
Let me
mentioned that
just double check.
during Shine
Yeah,
Destiny.
didn't they say that it was? Yeah, I think it's still Ota Ward.
It's
I
still Oda
think it's
Ward,
called Ibarra Wave now.
but it's the same.
Um,
It's the same venue we
it's
were
the
at.
same venue. I mean, I don't know if it's a different part or it's the second gymnasium. I assume it's the same venue because looking at Shine Forever, it looked like the exact same venue we were in. The wood paneling looked very similar. The
The
seating, the
banners.
freezing cold backstage, all looked very, very similar. So I'm assuming it's the same venue. It's just called Ibarra Wave for maybe sponsorship reasons. I don't know.
Yeah, that could be the casino, like 20 minutes from my house. They changed the name of the venue once every 2 years. So it's
Yeah.
just like, yeah, because the sponsorship and who buys it out and whatever. But I looked at that and that's doing really well. Again, you got to keep in mind that we don't know how many participants, who's in it.
That's something I think we are going to find out at the conversion. We always find out either the block split or the matchup or something like that in the pay-per-view before. And because we don't have the double shot pay-per-views at Sapporo this year, I think we'll probably get that instead because unless I'm very, very much mistaken, and I don't think I am, there's no more pay-per-views between the conversion and the start of the 5-star.
No, you're right. I think they're just building towards that. So the two Sapporo shows, they are back to back, which I think you can get for like a discounted rate if you buy two. Those shows are selling really well. Again, Oda Ward, since it is night one, and again, folks, as of this recording, we only know that they're doing the same somewhat format they did last year. We don't know how many participants. We don't know who's in it. Is Utami in it? Is Saya Kamatani? Again, more than likely. But so these show, and I'm going to say Oda Ward, just that show, Rob, it looks like all but 5 sections are either sold out or nearing a sellout. The Corkins, they look like they're going to open it up to the 15, 1600. All of those shows are close to sellouts. The one in Utsunomiya, the Light Cube, pretty well a sellout. The Sapporo show, pretty well a sellout. Now, I didn't go through all of them. I just kind of just briefed through those ones. But I would say I wanted to go to the Corkin, and I wanted to see the first 3 shows, that Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. I think that's what it is, right? Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. Those shows are doing really well. Now, here's the one, the kicker. The show in Sumo Hall. I was like, this isn't going to, I'm not going to see many tickets move until we get closer. Rob, there's 22 sections available. All but 6 sections are either sold out or nearing a sellout for a show 2 months away, and we have no idea. That's crazy.
It's mad. I agree.
That's crazy.
It's incredible numbers.
If it's 22 sections, which I think Dream Queendom was 25 or 26. So right now they may be just pairing it off a little until they see what they sold. My guess is, I could be wrong, they might have 5,000 tickets sold for that already. Considering the fact that they topped out at 7,500 with I think 24, 25. Again, if the show is selling really well, they may scale down the entrance like we did see when we were there for Dream Queendom just a handful of months ago. The interesting for me is that Sumo Hall, I could be wrong, I don't think I am, but the G1 Climax finals this year are in Sumo Hall, as well as we know, the 5-star. And I think they're not that far away from each other. Is there a possibility that Stardom out the 5-star final outdraws the G1 final in that building? Because they've always done, like, for the last handful of years, 9 times out of 10, the G1 finals have been in Sumo Hall, and they've always done around that anywhere between 10 to 11,000. But Stardom right now is on fire. Like, wouldn't that be something if they don't get close? If they don't outdraw it, if they get close to it, and what a coup for Stardom to have their first ever 5-star final in Sumo Hall get close to almost drawing, a company that's been running since 1972 and that's been running this tournament since, I believe, 1992. That would be insane, and it's a possibility it could happen.
I mean, you're looking at the finals of the G1 are the 15th and the 16th of August. So it's the week before Stardom's 5-star Grand Prix finals in the same venue, which is on the 23rd. I would argue there is a lot of upheaval in New Japan at the moment. Obviously, big talent missing, things like that. Initially, I was wondering if they were going to bring Ospreay back for the G1, and then I was like, no, they're not doing that ahead of All In. They can't risk him getting injured ahead of All In. I think if Stardom were ever going to outdraw the finals of the G1 Climax, and in my eyes, still the most prestigious tournament in wrestling, this is the year that they will do it, because Stardom are hotter than they have ever been, I don't even think it's arguable now, are the hottest promotion in Japan, male or female. Mm-hmm. New Japan are on the biggest downswing, and I'm sure that they'll right course. They have done before, but they're on the biggest downswing they've been on since pre-Tanahashi, I would say. So, the early 2000s? If it was ever going to happen. And again, this isn't about, oh my God, they beat New Japan. Yeah, tribalism. That's not why we're saying that. It's more, what an enormous achievement for this company. And what would really top it off is, they announced the number at Sumo Hall. It's this enormous number, great. They've topped the G1 Climax finals, which is in itself a huge moment. It wouldn't surprise me if they then announced Tokyo Dome.
That's a great idea, because you're capitalizing on it. And again,
it would not surprise me in the slightest.
Not only is the company the hottest it's ever been, again, you're pulling in this whole Tommy storyline, like what's going on from there. Because you're right, you may use the conversion as your big springboard to going into the 5-star. That's not a bad idea, buddy. Maybe at the conversion you do have the brackets announced with, because I know one year that they did it. I think it was on the Stardom the Sunshine pay-per-view, or what was it called? Stardom
It was
Sunrise?
just called Stardom Sunshine.
Stardom Sunshine. If you remember, last year they did the press conference, which I enjoyed, which is really cool. But in 2023, they did it on that show, and the reason why I remember it is because they like, here's the red stars, here's the blue stars, and they showed Natsuko, and she was on a dryer or in a dryer. I'll never forget that. I was like, why is she
she was on a
backstage
tumble dryer, and everyone was like,
all right, cool. Natsuko's in this block. She's in this block with Tam. Why is she on a dryer? I don't care, but I'd never forget that. So whether they do a press conference or whether they announce it there, or they may announce, hey, guess what? We're having a press conference on Monday. So as long as they don't scare you and be like, put up the logo.
Oh my God, that bloody logo. It doesn't help that it's in black and white as well. So I just assume the worst.
But I think that's a great point, brother, that you use the conversion as your, hey, we're going to have something big. So, you announce the brackets, or you announce the participants. Maybe they just announce the participants, like, here's who's in it. We'll announce it at a press conference. Like, oh man, Utami's in it. Shuri's in it. Hazuki's in it. Maybe they have every face of Kerry Oniyama. Billiken Death, Fukian Death, every single one in there. But anywho, and then they're like, hey, we're having a press conference in 2 or 3 days to tell you who's in whose bracket. And then, an hour later, towards the end of the show, you have the big, Momo comes back, or Bozilla comes back to punch Ruaka. I don't know why I keep saying that. I just think it's funny because it popped you. And then you have something, then you have this epic championship matches, because we know everyone's going to be great. There's a lot that's going to happen, my man. I'm excited. I'm excited to see where this leads into the 5-star. I'm excited for your 84 slides for the 45 participants. Probably.
Don't you worry, I'm on it, my man. I am on it. Don't you worry.
But yeah, man, a lot of great moving parts. I'm super excited to see what Stardom has in play for the conversion leading into the 5-star. That is for sure, good sir.
Let's move on then. Let's talk about someone who may be in the 5-star, missing last year. It is Hazuki. We talked last week about how she was announced for Collision. There was a little bit of a scheduling discrepancy, let's kindly call it that, where she was announced to be taking part in matches in both Kobe and America at the same time. Sure enough, it was just Collision that she was on, taking on Maya World ahead of her Owen Hart Cup match against Persephone. Hazuki did win against Maya World, but Matt, it was a great little introduction to the US AEW audience for Hazuki.
Yeah, I mean, she came out, the crowd was chanting her name. They knew who she were, where she was, considering she's never wrestled on AEW TV before. I thought Maya World was a great opponent. Again, these two had a phenomenal match.
Maya World was perfect, yeah.
Yeah, she was great. And cool seeing Hazuki come out with the Spark Joshi Championship. So shout out to our friends over there. Nice little plug. Nice little
absolutely
free little commercial. That was great. The match was terrific. I mean, I thought maybe they would have cut it for time because Collision was absolutely loaded. I think it got around 11, 12 minutes. It was terrific.
Longer than I thought it would.
Yeah, Maya World got over even in a loss. It was nice seeing Maya World over on AEW Collision as well on TNT, the Superstation. So nice seeing Maya World, again, friend of the show. Her getting her face in front of a lot of people on TNT. It's a great match. Hazuki gets the win with the top rope senton. And I will say, Tony Schiavone and Nigel McGuinness, great job on commentary. I mentioned all the championships and certain things Hazuki did. They definitely did their homework. A lot of Stardom references too, which sometimes we're like, how come they didn't mention? Like, as soon as she comes out, you see the big, her on her Titantron or whatever it's called, all the Stardom things, and it's this 8-time champion in Stardom. I was like, all right, we're off to a good start here. So I thought this was great for Hazuki. Again, they made a lot of references towards Stardom, so it was kind of almost not only a big opportunity here for Hazuki, but definitely a lot of Stardom references. And then I went to bed not too long after this match because I get up early every day. But I noticed when I woke up that Hazuki got promo time as well. Had a backstage promo.
Cut a really good English promo as well on Persephone. It was, and then sort of said about how she's entering the Owen Hart Cup. She's the Wild Heart. I was like, this is really good.
Yeah, she did a great job. And again, they did a great job using this match to build up her match with Persephone in round 1 of the Owen Hart tournament. So I thought this was terrific. It was well done. I got a lot of eyes on Hazuki. The views that were on social media, every one was like 30,000, 40,000, 50,000. So she probably, between all the social medias, probably close to 2 million views. And I had a lot of people be like, hey, let me know about who's this Hazuki? Who's this Hazuki? I was like, I don't have enough time to tell you about the greatness of Hazuki, but I did offer a whole bunch of matches, which of course, Rob, the number one to go to is the Sai
Saya
Kamatani.
Kamatani
Yeah.
match.
The Mercedes Monet match from a little over a year ago, that was terrific as well.
Oh,
Hazuki and Julia, to start off the 2022 5-star Grand Prix. There's so many great Hazuki matches, and it's great seeing her get her just due. And again, Maya World as well. I don't want to discredit Maya World. She was phenomenal. I just watched her match from Women of Honor against Trish Adora this past week for Ring of Honor. Again, Maya World is a next level competitor, but great for Hazuki. This is great for Stardom. I'm really enjoying this partnership we're getting with AEW and Stardom. And again, nothing but love and respect for Hazuki. Rob, a quick question I'm going to throw out at you, because the third man in our booth in one Andy Header, we actually had a little bit of a disagreement, which rarely happens.
Ooh.
Is I thought this was perfect for Hazuki. Her matchup here at Maya World. Andy Header, and I see his point, thought that they should have gave Hazuki somebody to run through in like 4 or 5 minutes just to get her introduction. And I said, I get that, but this isn't, and we see AEW do this from time to time, but this isn't WWE. This is, I think we were more excited to see Hazuki have a great match, and instead of her running through somebody in 5-6 minutes. I see his point, but I kind of disagree. But let's say do you think that they should have just given like Hazuki a local person, have her run through it, and then do the stare down to Persephone? Or you think got people more excited that they don't know who Hazuki is for her to have this great match with Maya World?
I think both style of match has its merit.
Sure.
I'm more inclined to lean into the match that she ended up having with Maya World, because I think that's really important. People don't necessarily know who Hazuki is. I listened to Going in Raw with Stephen Larson, and have done for years and years and years. And they were going through the Owen Hart bracket, and they didn't know who Hazuki was, and why would they? They don't watch Stardom, they don't watch Japanese wrestling, they don't know who Hazuki is. You can only get so much from one squash match. And the thing is, obviously, you've done it with, picking a name, Megan Bain, for example. Megan Bain ran through a load of local talent. You can do that when that talent is based in America. Hazuki has got one show, and then she's on to Persephone. You need to try and encapsulate everything that people need to know about this phenomenal wrestler in one show. So yeah, I think giving her a good opponent who can accent everything that Hazuki does well, and that's what Maya World does perfectly. And by the way, Maya World, talk about grabbing your opportunity. Do you want to come and do a job? After 2 minutes, Maya, and then turns out you've got a job for life, apparently. Talk about grasping an opportunity, and couldn't be happier for her. What a talent she is. She's literally and figuratively got the world at her feet. She really has. There you go.
Real quick, but I mean to interrupt you. You know what I was thinking? Obviously, the eyes of Stardom were on this match. What's it in my world? Not yet. She's not a big fixture in AEW storyline. Why not give her a tour of Stardom? Why not?
I'd love it. I'd love it. I think she'd fit in really, really well. And I think it's very telling that it was Maya World that was given Hazuki as an opponent, because, again, her style melds really well with Joshi. And obviously, Hazuki did win this match with that diving senton. She will take on Persephone this week on Saturday on Collision from Youngstown, Ohio. So I'm assuming that Hazuki won't be on the Sendai show for unless she's announced in the main event, because Tara O'Connor doesn't watch Collision. I don't know.
I hope she's announced at least. I want to play this over again.
I want
to play this over again. Tony Khan's like, I literally announced this a week in advance. It was like,
so that's why Tony Khan's done that as well. Given
I just want to let you guys
notice as is humanly possible. Can you imagine Tara O'Connor's like, so for Sendai Pit this time, we're going to do O2 Live versus FWC for the titles.
Yeah.
And Tony Khan's like, no, you're not. But again, I think this is going to be a really, really good match, her versus Persephone. I don't expect Hazuki to win, not because Hazuki's not great, but because Persephone is someone who AW are really high on, and rightly so. She's fantastic, really, really, really good talent. But I think, again, will be coming out of this match going, Hazuki did everything she could with the time that she was given. The winner of this takes on the winner, I believe, of Alex Windsor in the wild card, because Willow Nightingale, unfortunately, has had to pull out due to injury and has had to forfeit the TBS title. So we wish Willow Nightingale nothing but the best as well. Moving on, just a couple of bits, and then we'll move on to our two show reviews. Just wanted to talk about the big angle that came out of KBS Hall. One of the big angles that came out of KBS Hall was Rian. Rian has officially joined a new faction. Not the faction that I thought it was going to be. It is the Itoh Respect Army. The Itoh Respect Army is up to 3 people. Now, I must admit, over the course of these 2 shows, the stuff with Maki Itoh was brilliant. I thought it was so well done. Obviously, Maki Itoh going off the deep end after losing consecutive matches, including that title match with Sayaka Kurara, goes missing for 4 days. Stardom can't get in touch with her. Kikyo Furusawa was putting out missing posters. And then they get to the match. She's there in her pajamas, looks like she hasn't slept in days, isn't wrestling like herself. She turns up at KBS Hall, isn't wrestling like herself. And then Rian and Kikyo put the ribbons back in her hair because they found the ribbons. And these ribbons apparently are like the urn to the Undertaker. And Maki Itoh powers up. She's back. She's normal. And it was carny, but it was carny in the best possible way. Again, this is why I loved the Maki Itoh and Aya Sakura stuff earlier in the year, because it's character stuff. It's something different. We expect great wrestling in Stardom. That's why we watch Stardom. But again, this is what sets it apart. This is what sets Maki Itoh apart to other wrestlers. Yeah, we know she's a good in-ring competitor. She's really good. She's not, I don't think she's ever going to be elite level. I don't think she's ever going to be the cream of the crop. But she has a character and a sort of connection that other people just don't have on this roster. Rian has obviously joined this trio now to become the Itoh Respect Army. She has said very, very, very bluntly, she's done this because she wants to make money, which was also hilarious because Rian's brilliant. And they have also announced that they want to challenge for the Artist of Stardom Championships. Now, it hasn't been confirmed, but I imagine that will be the Artist of Stardom Championship first defense for God's Eye, because it's a nice challenge for them. Sorry, it sounded like there was a dog outside then. I was
like, no, you keep going, buddy. You had a good point. Yeah, I was like, it's the Batmobile.
Yeah, I was like, well, it's a good first defense for God's Eye. It's a good spotlight for both Kikyo Furusawa and for Rian. And to be honest, the more I think about it, the more I think it's a really good fit for Rian. It does look like Itoh Respect Army is going to be more of a faction. I assumed, perhaps foolishly, that this was going to be sort of a couple of months and then we'd sort of peter out into something else. The more it's carried on, the more I've really liked it. I think it's done wonders for Kikyo Furusawa, and I think it is the next step in the evolution for Rian as well, who, again, I think has developed massively over the last 6 months, arguably since her 5-star Grand Prix run last year. And this is going to be great. I think the Artist of Stardom Championship match, which, if I were to guess, just looking at Stardom's schedule, they have got one Korakuen Hall event before the conversion. We've actually we have only got 3 shows before the conversion. And the show on the 14th, we won't have Rina and we won't have Saya Kamatani because they'll be still in America doing the MLW shows. So it wouldn't surprise me if that 14th of June Korakuen Hall show is where we get God's Eye versus the Itoh Respect Army.
Yeah, and I know Yuna, Aya Sakura, and Natsupoi, they threw their hat in the ring as well.
Did, yeah.
So again, the Artist Stardom Championships, I mean, the potential of what
But
we
this
can
is
see
what I
there.
mean. This is why I was so frustrated when Hate held them. Not because it was Hate holding them, not because of who was holding them, but because Konami was champion, it meant that we didn't get them defended. This is why I'm happy that God's Eye won it. Aside from
Yeah.
it being Lady C, obviously.
And Hina and Ami, sorry, they're
And
terrific
Hina,
as well. But
obviously.
the main
Yeah,
thing
of
was
course.
Lady C. The C stands for champion now, Rob.
The C does stand for champion chaps.
But you did, I mean, made a lot of good points, buddy. I love it how she puts the ribbons in the hair. Yeah, you're right. She's back, like the Undertaker. I love it. I love how
I thought
we
it was
have.
really funny. I thought
I
it was
love how
really
that
well done.
we can now do fantasy booking of Paul Bear and the Undertaker versus Maki Itoh and Kikyo Furusawa. It's the same thing, Rob.
Absolutely.
It's
Yeah,
the same thing.
absolutely.
And then we know that O2 Line is going to have a great run with these championships. I mean, why not having a Korakuen or somewhere maybe after the 5-star Grand Prix? O2 Line versus Maki Itoh and Kikyo Furusawa. That'll be a great match. Or throw Rian in there. There's a lot that you can do. But you're right. Like this Itoh Respect Army seemed like it was just something funny. And I don't know what the booking idea was. Like, oh, just something funny we'll do for a couple months until we get to the 5-star, just for something for Maki Itoh to do. And it caught on. We see, I don't know if they're licensed shirts or people making their own shirts. There's a lot of Itoh Respect Army shirts we do see. And obviously it's something that Teru Okada and the Brass of Stardom's like, this is catching on. We can make money from this. It's something that we can do. And now we're going to throw Rian on. Again, Rob, you know her fan base is a diehard fan base, and now we're throwing in this Itoh Respect Army. So now this is like an official thing now, and I think you're going to see more merch being made, which means more money being made because this is an over group. How funny would it be if we do see sometime towards the end of the conversion that we have Utami, Momo Watanabe, and Sai Kamatani shake hands, make up, and like we're joining the Itoh Respect Army. Like it's just like we're not redoing Queen's Quest. That's the big angle. Itoh Respect Army has Momo, Sai, Utami.
So OP.
But I think I text you. I was watching the Kobe show. I think it dropped only a few hours, or no, it was live. But I was watching it Saturday before all my shopping that I had to do. Wink, wink.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
But and I noticed that there was all these flyers missing person flyers. Like if you lose your cat or your dog, you always put the posters up of Maki Itoh, and like every other cameraman had the posters taped to their back, which I thought was hilarious. And then Maki Itoh shows up the next day. Yeah, like she hasn't slept or anything. And then
so well done.
Yeah, and then obviously now she's back on her stuff, and she now has a Stone Cold Rian in her corner. Again, this company has so much great stuff going on with the championships. We mentioned Suzu and Sayaka. We're really excited about Han, and Odds obviously doing and going to continue to do great things as Wonder Stardom champion. Shuri. I mean, she's going to have great matches with the IWGP championship. The tag division's hot. The artist belt is hot. Utami's back. What Saya Kamatani is going to do. When's Momo Watanabe coming back? Hina, Rina, phenomenal. All the rookies, Ronnie Yagami. I mean, there's so many great moving parts. Everybody has something to do. And the Itoh Respect Army is really now a big part of that, Rob. And I'm just really excited for this moving forward. First, Stone Cold Rian, Kikyo Furusawa, and of course, one Maki Itoh. The Undertaker, Maki Itoh.
It wouldn't surprise me, again, I was looking at the championship history in Stardom. The New Blood tag titles, 214 days Saya Korora have held them, only 2 championship defenses. I don't see a New Blood event scheduled for a long time. It wouldn't surprise me if your next challengers, maybe Kikyo and Rian. Just a thought. Just a thought. Speaking of Rian, and this is the last thing I just want to briefly talk about. She is still going on in the Catch the Wave tournament. She is in Surge block and picked up a victory on the 1st of June. So yesterday, as we record, she defeated Arisa Shinose to move to 7 points, beat her in 8 minutes and 11 seconds as Wave drew 189 people to Shinjuku face. Did you see what? So Mirai is also in this tournament. She went to a time limit draw with Haruka Umasaki. Did you happen to see what Mirai said she would do if she won the money for the Catch the Wave tournament?
Oh, I read it real quick. Remind me, buddy.
She said she was going to, it's a hard tournament. So she was going to take all of the competitors for a spa, and then she was going to use the rest to learn Spanish and English. She's such a wholesome person. She's so lovely.
I'm taking everybody for a spa. Look at her.
She's so nice.
Yeah, then she'll layer at everybody afterwards.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Because it's Mirai and she's great. Right, let's start talking about these shows then. We've got two shows to talk about. The first one from Kobe on the 30th of May, which, of course, is Aya Sakura's homecoming show and sees the return of the biggest wrestler in Stardom history, and Kanai. Utami is also back on this card as well. Her first match since the 12th of April 2024 in Stardom. Already been through that Hazuki will miss the shows, both of these shows, because she was appearing on AEW Collision, and also Saori Anou missed this show because she was a part of the Oz Academy Big Battle bonus in Nagoya show. The attendance, by the way, in Kobe Sambo Hall, and again, two great numbers for Stardom this weekend. In Hyogo was 595 people, which the company did announce as a sellout. It's the first time the company have run the venue in over 2 years. It is a 95.08% increase on the 305 people they had in attendance that day, which was 30th of April 2024. The number obviously marks the highest attendance the company have drawn to the venue of the 4 times they've previously run it, with this being a 38.69% increase on their previous best, which was 429 way back in April 2022. So we opened, of course, with a singles match. Utami Hayashishita defeating Akira Kurogane with the German suplex in 9 minutes and 41 seconds. We then had a 6-woman tag match. The God's Eye team of Shiori, Ronnie Yagami, and Tomoka Inaba defeating Hate, Natsuko Tora, Ruaka, and Azusa Inaba. Shiori pinning Azusa with the Ruen in 7 minutes and 2 seconds. We then got in a 3-way match. Matoi, Roman Reigns, Hamabe defeating Rian and Waka Tsukiyama, stacking the bodies in 6 minutes and 27 seconds. Does only count as one win, though. We then had a 3-on-2 handicap match. The Cup High Mate team of Micah and Hanako defeating Koguma, a distracted Maki Itoh, let's say, and Kikyo Furusawa. Micah flattening Kikyo with a rolling lariat in 10 minutes and 3 seconds. 6-woman tag. The God's Eye team of Ami Sourei, Lady C, and Hina defeated Starlight Kid, Azumi, and Emma Maishima. Ami Sourei pinning Emma with the Blue Thunderbomb in 10 minutes and 1 second, which does serve her right because she is still holding out on Neo Genesis. Semi-main event, 8-woman tag. The Hate team of Saya Kamatani, B. Priestley, Rina, and Konami defeated Natsupoi, Yuna Mizumori, Aya Sakura, and the returning Ann Kanai. Kamatani pinning Ann with the Star Crusher in 14 minutes and 2 seconds. And then in your main event, the tag match, Suzu Suzuki and Saya Ida defeated Hanan and Sayaka Karara. Suzu getting a pinfall over the champion, second successive pinfall over the champion, with a tequila shot in 13 minutes and 26 seconds. So, Matt Turner, only one place to start, really, and that is with the re-debut of Utami Hayashishita. Comes out, brand new gear, looking like $1 million, and has a really good match with Akira Kurogane. Again, Akira is very, very good in ring. We knew that she's very good. Utami bought it here. There was a desire, a fight, a passion there to really make a statement here. And it was very, very, very exciting.
Rob, can we consider Akira Kurogane this generation's Jungle Kiona, since Utami had her first match with Jungle in 2018? So is it Akira Jungle Kurogane? Is that what we refer to?
I think if this had gone to a time limit draw, we could very, very well make those comparisons, Mr. Turner. Yes.
What a deep dive. For you long-term Stardom fans, if you got that one, bravo, bravo. This was great, and I like how Utami, she did say, like, hey, I'm going to work my way back up. Match 1. Her first match back is the opener, and then the next one, she's in match number 2. So what we're going to see this weekend, Is she gonna be in the third match, the fourth match? I think this is really cool. Literally the point where the render is her coming out. Like
I laughed at this render far more than I should have done.
like Andy Hatter, he's like, "Did you see this render?" And I said, "I didn't see it," but Rob mentioned to on air. And he sent it to me. Like, I'm sure they have other photos of her with belts and robes. But this was great. I was halfway through this match. I was like, Tommy really should have, no disrespect to Akira, more been like an 80-20 match. But then I thought it's Utami. I've probably said this on every single Marigold episode that we have ever done together, where it's like Utami is so giving. Whether she was in the ring with another main eventer or somebody at the beginning of the card, she made Akira look great here. And Utami definitely brought. There was that form exchange, the lariat exchange. Akira hitting the big jumping Inseguri. Like Utami makes sure she proper selling here. She made Akira look really, really good. Like make it look like she could almost defeat the former World of Stardom champion. But ultimately, just too much Utami here towards the end, putting Akira away with a huge lariat and that stalling German suplex, perfect bridge on the toes. This was a great reintroduction from Utami. I did like how, again, new gear. She kind of had a little bit of the black, more of the black than on the red. No robe, no mask. Not just yet, Rob. I like it how it's just like, not just yet. Maybe we see it at the conversion. Maybe we see it on night one of the 5-star Grand Prix. It's like, that when we get that full Utami, it's going to be something. So we're just getting little bits here. I thought the match was great. Again, I thought Akira was terrific, and Utami made sure she gave Akira enough and sold enough for her because, again, Utami, she's 1-on-1. She is so unselfish here. 3 3/4 stars. I thought this was like really the perfect way to bring Utami back into the fold here, my friend. Great reaction as well. Great reaction.
Absolutely. Really good reaction. It is worth pointing out as well that the graphics, all with roses. I wonder what that could be in relation to. I did want to briefly bring up as well, you mentioned obviously Utami potentially coming out on the pay-per-view with a robe or a mask or both, or even potentially on the 5-star. She's not currently on the poster for the conversion. It is worth pointing out. Although I would bet my bottom dollar that she is on that show. She might be on the pre-show against, like, I don't know, Ankanai. Oh, I love Ankanai. I'm sorry, Al. But Matoi Hamabe's just stacked 2 bodies. So, again, she's on another level now.
Yeah, I mean, Utami only had 1 win here, right? We're going to talk about this. Sherry only beat 1 person.
Exactly. She did destroy Azusa Inaba, though, with that Rian. Although I'm always a fan when the Inaba sisters are together.
Yeah, this was fun. 7 minutes, 6 people. You got a little bit of the Inaba sister violence against each other. Toru and Ruaka obviously were great. So was Rana. The match that I got out of this, Rob, even though she did destroy her towards the end, give me a singles match of Azusa versus Shiri. Maybe they're in the same blocks, or maybe give Azusa a couple wins and have her challenge Shuri maybe at a Korakuen Hall for the IWGP Championship, because styles make fights and they have very similar styles. And then you could have a little hate interference, not in front of the ref, just to get more heat into it, and then make you believe that maybe Azusa can pull off the upset. Again, this was really fun. I enjoyed it. I had it 3 3/4 stars, but where the money was for me is I came out of this match saying, ooh, give me a singles match with Shiri and Azusa. I think that would fit really well. I think it's a match a lot of people would see.
If schedules allow, I am really hoping we get both Inaba sisters in the 5-star again, because, again, Tomoka was brilliant in that block with Kid and with Natsupoi and with Azumi. Just a phenomenal block, all in all. But then again, I thought Azusa Inaba was tremendous in her 5-star debut last year, and I think she really, really has earned another shot. Because, again, I thought it was a brilliant tournament that, obviously, with everything Stardom has going on, they haven't really capitalized on it. You know, again, Azusa isn't actually signed to Stardom. But I think another tournament could really see her cemented as a future star 100%.
Yes, sir.
Moving on then, Matoi stacking them bodies high. Poor Waka. She's ended up losing Rian as a friend. She's taken a pay cut, apparently. Kayfabe. Anyway, she cut a promo backstage at Kyoto that was like, I'm so hungry. Sayurita gives her a banana.
I didn't see that.
Just genuine look at the backstage comments from Kyoto. Honestly, I mean, Stitch is just this banana appearing from off camera, and it's Sayurita.
How funny people Saki Kashima. That should be Saki
Oh,
Kashima's role. She just appears in backstage segments
that's
every
what it should
fourth
be.
show.
Absolutely. But big win for Matoi.
Yeah, and again, this is the third time they ran this match with Rian winning the first one, Waka winning the biggest one
Yep.
at the pay-per-view, and then Matoi. So I would say they're all even, but then again, Matoi's really kind of up 2-1 to 1 because she got the double pin. This was fun, just as good as their other ones. You had the great comedy stuff here. You had Waka really, again, Waka's so great at that high-speed style. It's interesting that Waka, very much like the New Day, were asked to take pay cuts. Maybe that's, again, if the New Day does go to AEW, we have the working relationship with Stardom. Waka in the New Day. It's a new day, Rob. Yes, it is. You know what I mean?
Is,
coming
absolutely.
out of the big, can you imagine Waka coming out of the big box of the Booty O's like they did at that one WrestleMania? I think it was 32. But yeah, that would be a delight. Again, this was really fun. I had it 3.5 stars. Matoi is just another one you added onto this list of just great wrestlers in this roster. Her arm work, she's just like so aggressive. So again, it's gonna be interesting to see where she lands when these factions go. Again, I think she's a great fit for Neo Genesis, but right now I think they're kind of just really all tied up with trying to recruit one wrestler that's like, I'm not sure yet, which we'll get into a moment. Again, a really fun match with Matoi, double pin, 3.5 stars for me, my friend.
Obviously, we have talked about this match a little bit. Bedraggled Maki Itoh, pajamaed Maki Itoh turning up to help Kikyo Furusawa and Koguma in this match. I don't know how much help she actually was. She was a body in the ring, let's put it that way, before Micah absolutely flattened Kikyo Furusawa with a lariat. Again, this was far more about the story of Maki Itoh than it was anything else.
No, that look at this render. Why does Hanako look like she seems like she's Andre the Giant? She's not that much taller than Micah.
Look how big she is compared to Maki Itoh in that render. The proportions of this render, it's almost as good as that one where Azumi was like a borrower. She was that small at the forefront of that. What I'm gonna have to find that render. It's so funny. The aspect ratio was all over the place.
They're like, hurry up, we need to print this. It's got to go to print in 30 seconds. This is what you're getting.
That's why Utami's looks like it's been cut out of a newspaper and sellotaped to the graphic.
Right next to the Maki Itoh missing. Can we find her? Yeah, again, we talked about, you're right. It was a fun match. I mean, look who's in it. You have a lot of great wrestlers. As far as the actual wrestling goes, I thought Koguma and Micah, really great chemistry. But it was all about the stuff with Maki Itoh, I guess, helping, but not really. Again, a really fun stuff. Really fun match with ultimately really towards the end just kind of highlighted Cup High Mate, and now we find out why, because they have laid out the challenge of, hey, eventually we want to challenge for those belts. So now we see what we're doing with Mike and Hanako for the summer months leading into the 5-star. 3.5 stars. Again, solid match. Kikyo was great. Obviously the tag work of Hanako and Micah was, as far as wrestling goes, the main wrestling thing. But you want to get the storyline over a pajama wearing Maki Itoh. Hey, we found her. She's in this match. Like, I didn't get any sleep. Might not have been the best strategy, putting somebody in the match that hasn't slept in 4 days. Clearly, it did not work here, Rob. Again, 3.5 stars for me.
God's Eye versus Neo Genesis and Emma Maishima because she refuses to commit. Goodness me. But for me, this was all about the trio of God's Eye, the new champions, and just how happy Lacey looked with a belt around her waist. So happy for this trio.
This was fantastic. I was like, as this match was starting, I was like, wait, we have our artist champions against Starbomb and Emma. You know, and Emma is obviously one of the focal points. Pardon me, if you watch this on YouTube, I got something in my eye. I'm not just winking at Rob, but I mean, Emma's really one of the focal points when it comes to this younger, the younger parts of the roster. I think she fits in really well here with Neo Genesis. I don't know what the gimmick is, why we're waiting. Maybe they're just building towards something. And again, we'll talk about her in the main event of the KBS Hall here in a little bit. Starbomb again is terrific. Give me Starbomb versus the Tokyo Towers. But the one match I definitely want to see coming out of this, I'm really hoping they're in the same block in the 5-star, is Starlight Kid and Hina. I think that's like the third time in like 4 weeks I mentioned it. I thought it was terrific, but you're absolutely right. It was just a lot of teamwork to get rid of Azumi, a lot of teamwork to get rid of Starlight Kid, and then they hit that double 3D, and then Ami Sourei just absolutely plants Emma down with the Blue Thunder Bomb for the 3 count. 3 3/4 stars for me.
You're right there, brother. You're struggling.
No, just something's in my eye. That's all. Keep going.
Just really emotional over this
I'm
match.
really emotional. I just love it.
Just really wants Emma to join Neo Genesis.
You keep going, buddy. I think I'm just going to take my contact out. Go ahead. You keep going.
Okay. So we then moved on to the Cosmic Angels match with Aya and Kanai, who again is a Cosmic Angel by proxy, Natsupoi and Yuna Mizumori taking on Saya Kamatani, B. Priestley, Konami, and Rina of Hate. And again, this was fun. I'm really intrigued by the dynamic between Ann Kanai and Aya. Obviously, Ann Kanai coming back on this show after having the plate out from her hand, from a hand injury, a prior hand injury. She's been out for about a month. But obviously, prior to that, Aya Sakura was the only holdout from Cosmic Angels, saying, no, you're not joining yet. You've got to go through trials. So I'm really intrigued to see where that goes now that we can pick that storyline back up between Anne and Aya. Overall, though, Anne is the one that eats the pinfall from Saya Kamatani. Matt, what were your thoughts on this match?
Oh, I'm just so emotional. There was a tear in my contact. That's why I just threw it out.
Okay.
I'm operating on one eye here, folks. I figure I'll make it happen. But yeah, I'm fine. Yeah, a lot of this was just we're throwing Anne in the mix to see what she can do. Again, I think Anne fits perfect with Cosmic Angels, very much like how Emma fits in perfect with Neo Genesis. I just think they'll pull the trigger. I just don't see any other way it can go. I just don't think with these rookies you're going to pull a bait and switch. I think they're just building up towards it. This was a lot of these matches are a lot of Saya Kamatani getting the crowd, getting over as a baby face in these matches. So she gets the big pop. Obviously, so does Natsupoi. I really like Ann Kanai getting a lot of the match. Not only that, but she took a beating from B. Priestley. B. Priestley's just like, yeah, I was champion here. I'm back. You want to be in this faction. You want to do this or this. You're going to take a beating. I mean, Konami does her licks in as well, but B. Priestley, like, again, we mention this all the time, especially since her heel turn. And now that she's a member of Hate, she fits in so perfect with this version of Stardom and this version of Oedo Tai, now known as Hate. I just think her style, her character, her jerkness fits in really well with all the other members. Rina was fantastic. I always love when Natsupoi and Yuna do the cartwheels into the double drop kicks. I think we call what was like the name we have of the Pineapple Fairy or Fairy Pineapple?
Fairy Pineapples.
Fairy Pineapple. Yeah, I thought it was really terrific. I was great with Konami because their stuff works really well. And Rina is another one, Rob, that very much like a Momo Watanabe and a Starlight Kid a few years ago, when they're ready to pull the trigger, she is going to be a really big baby face. And she doesn't have to really change the character that much because as that jerk, she's kind of over. And she got a massive reaction because I think she's the first person to cut the curtain in KBS Hall. But ultimately, this is just Ann Kanai getting kind of thrown to the wolves here. We're just like, here you go. You want to join this faction? Kamatani plants her with the Star Crusher. 3.5 stars for me.
We then move on to the main event, champions versus challengers ahead of the conversion pay-per-view, Sayaka Kurara and Hanan versus Suzu Suzuki and Saya Iida. And again, the result fits into the story that they're telling. Suzu Suzuki picking up a second consecutive pinfall victory over the World of Stardom champion. You are not strong enough to hold this belt. And again, you build into the fact that Suzu Suzuki then pinned Sayaka Kurara again in KBS Hall, and the crowd are starting to think, well, maybe she isn't strong enough, and it's up to Sayaka Kurara to fight from underneath, to fight for people's respect, to fight for Suzu's respect. And Matt, I know that you were keen to talk about this match. You really enjoyed this match. I thought this, and especially the KBS Hall match, did wonders for building this matchup, match ahead of the conversion.
Sure, both matches. This is my favorite match of these two shows. This was great.
Yeah, it was great.
Like you start with like Hanan and Iida. It's just like they have a nice little exchange. They're tag partners. They're friends. Like Hanan called Iida out. Like they're gonna have a great hard hitting match. They have a nice little exchange, and then they tag out. And then Suzu and Sayaka, they just run in the ring. Was like completely opposite of friends. Like they're hell bent for leather, to quote Judas Priest. Some really fantastic stuff there. Suzu gets the better of Sayaka Kurara, and then Iida's like, oh, this looks really fun. And then she just starts chopping the crap out of Sayaka Kurara. Again, and then Hanan comes in for the save, and we get great exchanges with Hanan and Iida. We've never really seen them opposite ends of of a ring. I don't think they've ever been across the ring from each other in the 5-star Grand Prix before. And if they and even if they have, it hasn't been at this level. Hanen's phenomenal. Saeed has done a great job over the last 7-8 months, really building herself up to somebody that can dabble in the main event scene from time to time. So again, their exchanges were really terrific towards the end. I'll tell you what, Ida and Suzu worked really well as a tag
They
team.
did.
They really did. I think they had a name for. I think they would call them Crazy Gorilla. I think that's what they were. The people on the internets were calling them. But
Yep.
they worked really well together. Then if you take a step back, I'm like, well, their styles are very smash mouth, in your face. Makes sense that they absolutely would work well together. Towards the end here, we get Sakura blocks the German suplex, hits Suzu with the big spear, and then I like how Suzu's making Sayaka even more aggressive. So Sayaka hits the spear instead of going for the cover, she jumps right on the neck of Suzu with a rear naked choke. I really enjoyed that. We get Hanan. She comes in with the crossbody and the Hanan special to Saya Ida. So that basically kind of takes the two of them out for this match. And then we do have Sayaka goes for the spear. Suzu blocks the spear, hits the tequila shot onto Sayaka for the 3. Not only was this match great, and it made me more, built up my anticipation even more for not only Hanan and Saida, but of course Suzu and Sayaka. The crowd was molten hot for this whole entire show, from the Utami entrance to the final bell, but especially this match. I had it 4 stars, Rob, but I always give extra credit when you get the crowd that more involved. So I bumped it up to the other extra quarter star, 4.25 stars. My favorite match from these two shows. I thought it was brilliant. And again, the main job for this match is to get you more anticipated for not 1, but 2 title matches coming up at the conversion. And job well done to these 4 fantastic athletes.
We move on to the show in Kyoto, then. The beautiful KBS Hall from the 31st of May. We have got Miyu Amasaki returning from that illness that has kept her out of Queen's Dynasty and beyond. She comes back for a homecoming show. It's also Hanako's homecoming show. We'll see them in the main event. Soriano returns to action as well. The announced attendance inside KBS Hall, 742 people, a number that Stardom announced to be a complete sellout. This is a 43.24% increase on Stardom's previous attendance at the venue, which was 518 on the 28th of November last year as a part of the Goddesses of Stardom Tag League. Yet more impressively, it is only 2 people shy of their highest ever of the 17 shows they previously run there, which was the 746 they drew for night 7 of the 2025 5-star Grand Prix. So to put that into context, this random tour show, this random house show with no real stakes in terms of titles or tournament matches, only drew 4 people less than their 5-star Grand Prix show there last year. That is a highly impressive number. Let's talk about the results then. 10-woman tag team match opened the show. Hate, Saya Kamatani, Natsuko Tora, Konami, Rina, and B. Priestley defeated Shiori Tomoka Inaba, Natsupoi, Yuna Mizumori, and Aya Sakura. Kamatani pinning Aya with the Star Crusher in 11 minutes and 41 seconds. Tag team match, Wingori, Hanan and Sayarida going from opponents to teammates here, defeated Utami Hayashishita and Matoi Hamabe. Hanan pinning Matoi with the blockbuster in 11 minutes and 29 seconds. 8-woman tag match, the God's Eye team of Amisori Hina, Lady C, and Kyoko Katatsu defeated Maki Itoh, Kikyo Furusawa, Rian, and Waka Tsukiyama. Hina pinned Rian with the modified jackhammer in 11 minutes and 34 seconds. Tag team match, Mavida Loka, Suzu Suzuki, and Akira Kuragane defeated Sayaka Kurora and Ann Kanai, with Akira submitting Ann Kanai with the Yokobari lock in 12 minutes and 21 seconds, meaning technically Suzu Suzuki gets another victory over Sayaka Kurara. In your semi-main event, Saori Ano and Fuwachan, a team they are persisting with, and I am all here for it, defeated the hate team of Ruaka and Azusa Inaba. Fuwachan rolling up Azusa with the Hazuki Strahl in the 11 minutes and 8 seconds. And then in your main event, 8-woman tag match, Maika Hanako, Koguma, and Ronnie Yagami defeated Starlight Kid, Azumi, Miyu Amasaki, and Emma Maishima, who continues to hold out. Hanako pinning Emma with the JP coaster in 16 minutes and 50 seconds. Matt, let's talk about this 10-woman tag that opens another dominant win for Saya Kamatani, keeping her very well separated from Utami, making us wait. And here, once again, we've just got that tease. Saya Kamatani and Syuri, that's the rematch we want.
Yeah, it sure is. I mean, they had a great match at the Tokyo Dome. It was, I think they only got like 12 minutes. So we know Kamatani and Shuri, they're best when they go that plus 20. We've seen it in both their runs when they were World of Stardom Championship. Obviously, even if they had 20 minutes, that show's gonna be remembered for the Tanahashi Okada match, regardless. But again, we need that in a big one-on-one singles match. Maybe that is the finals of the 5-star Grand Prix, Rob. Maybe, you're teasing Kamatani's return back to the red belt, her run back, or is it Shuri, the first ever 2-time winner of this tournament? Maybe you get that in the semifinal, you tease it to the final. I don't think anybody would say no to that. But I love it how it starts off with Poi and Rina. Speaking of the 5-star Grand Prix, they had a great match in the playoff that they had at Cork and Hall back at last year's 5-star Grand Prix. Natsupoi hits the beautiful cartwheel arm drag, and then she goes for the basement drop kick. Then all of a sudden, if you blink or you sneeze, or if your contact gets ripped like mine does, and you look up, where did everybody go? I'm like, oh, of course. There's a multi-person hate match. Hate's gotta hate. We get the brawl all over the building. We get back in the ring, and we got heat on Natsupoi, which I thought was interesting because she might be one of the biggest stars in this match. Eventually, though, Sherry comes in. Not only does Sherry come in for the save, like Sherry comes in for the save, and she basically taps Tomoka Inaba, be like, "There's 5 people we got to beat up," and Tomoka Inaba's like, "Say less." And then Shuri and Inaba just beat up all 5 members of Hate in about 45 seconds. It was like a Bruce Lee movie. It really was like 2 Bruce Lees. Like that's what it was. And you just see all the members of Hate just flying all over. I thought it was terrific. And then we do have Aya, Natsupoi, and Yuna do a really great job with triple teamwork, which again, now you're putting into your head, like they make a great trio. And we do know that they did throw their hat into the ring or their pineapple in the ring, Rob, that they want to be.
Look at you.
They want to be the next challengers for the artist belts. Again, we know Shuri and Tomoka Inaba, they did say that they want to be challengers for the goddess belts. And now we have Aya, Poi, and Yuna throwing their hat in the mix. So again, championship match is set up, and for potential things down the line, we'll see how it goes. Again, B Priestley was great. B and Shuri, I've said it a few times before, they had great matches back before B left to go to WWE. We'll love to see a big singles match somewhere down the line. Konami and Rina, they work really well together. Again, 2/3 of that great run they had as Artists of Stardom champions. Ultimately, though, we get towards the end as we just almost have a mini singles match here with Aya and Saya Kamatani. Kamatani gives a lot to Aya here, but eventually it's just too much Kamatani, putting away Aya Sakura with the Star Crusher. 3 3/4 stars. A really great way to start off this show, my friend.
Speaking of great ways to start off this show, we followed it up with Wingori and Utami Hayashishita and Matoi Hamabe. And to say that stars are pleased that Utami is back in the company, I think would be a little bit of an understatement, Matt. I think at one point, Sairida forgot that Utami was on the other team.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm really glad that Stardom was like, "Oh, Utami, why we have you here on the 30th? Let's take some new pictures and get you a new render." So.
Yeah, she's progressed from cutout sellotape from magazine to actual render, and the render looks sick, to be fair.
I mean, it's Utami. Then when you get the robe, the mat, the whole 9. I think I did tell you that someone that was at the show on the 30th or the 31st, they already have Kamatani promo pictures with the Stardom logo on the right, on the side, on the right-hand side. Or Utami, what did I say?
Kamatani.
I'm sure they have those too, because
they probably do have them as well.
You have one. You bought one in Sumo Hall.
I did buy one in Sumo Hall. You're right.
But they have the Utami. Her basically it looks like this render. It's her like photo shoot with the Stardom logo on the right hand side. But yeah, she's a freelancer. Wink. Maybe that's what my contact. It's all the winking I was doing. But yeah, you're right. Again, and we made mention when Utami came back a few weeks ago that I can't wait to when she's in the match with Hanan. She seemed like, what's with that theme? And then when they came out to Hanan's theme, I was like, man, in my head, I was like, Utami's like, I'm gonna belch you, Hanan, for changing your theme. Ultimately, we didn't get as much Hanan as Utami as we like. Obviously, Hanan is a way better wrestler now than she was 2 years ago before Utami left. And don't get me wrong, Hanan was great then, but she's really next level now. So I was not disappointed. I thought we would have gotten a little more there, but I think we got we got something maybe even better, at least at that time, with Utami and Saya Ida. But yeah, you're right. They were like laughing and hugging. Then Utami's just like, oh yeah, I have to forearm you now. She forearms Saya really hard. We do get a lot of Utami just being really dominant here. And then the Wingori is just like, yeah, well, we need to do our comeback. We'll do it on the rookie. And they beat up poor Matoi, especially towards the end. We get to Wingori hitting the reverse magic killer. And then they take out one Utami with double clotheslines. And then the Hanan special to one Matoi. You're getting a really great match. You can just see how happy Utami is, not only from this show, but the show from the day before we just reviewed, to be back in the company. Really cool on day 2 of her return, taking on Wingori, one of the best tag teams in this company in the last handful of years. Really fun stuff. Again, obviously, Utami and Saida was the best parts of this match, but I really want to see Utami and Hana really tear it up, because I think the potential there would be really something. Again, 3 3/4 stars.
We move on to God's Eye versus Maki Itoh's Army and Waka. But again, Matt, a really, really good showing for God's Eye. We have managed to bring Maki Itoh out of that funk. We did talk, obviously, earlier on about the post-match. What were your thoughts here?
I thought this was really fun, and you wondered, where does Waka fall on this? Does Waka then join this group? I think Waka, as part of the Itoh Respect Army, I think would be is a really cool dynamic that you can really go there. I mean, you're kind of bouncing everything off the wall and it's all working. I think this would be really cool if Waka does join the Itoh Respect Army, because these 4 worked really well. Again, obviously we know coming off this match, even with the loss, Rian does join the foe here. But Rian and Waka have always had this great chemistry pretty much since day 1 of Rian in this company. So I wouldn't be shocked. And I actually would prefer if that's where Waka lands when it is eventually time for her to go to a faction with the Itoh Respect Army. Again, ultimately just showcasing our new artist champions, Lady C, Ami, Sori, and Hina. Not only great as a team, but they're really showing how well they can carry these belts. And Kyoto Kotatsu is somebody that we've seen Stardom kind of slowly pushing, slowly giving a little more. And then obviously they gave her that great match with Shuri that she back had at Queen's Dynasty. I thought this was a really fun match, ultimately just really showing the power of God's Eye in this match with Hina, with them eventually doing the triple 3D to Rian and putting Rian away with the Hina hammer, as I call it. 3.5 stars for me.
Sayaka Kurora and Ankanai versus Mavida Loka. Another victory for Mavida Loka. Another loss for Sayaka Kurora, even if she wasn't directly pinned or submitted. And again, we're building on that story. We started post-conversion. We sort of accelerated in Kobe. And again, this built to the attack and destruction in at the post-match and the backstage interview as well, Matt.
Yeah, match starts off. We talked about this. This is like the 4th time I'm going to say it, with a really hot, violent start with Suzu and Sayaka. Like there's some visceral venom there, and Suzu kind of gets the better of it. Then Ann Kanai comes in, and we get some great teamwork with Ann Kanai and Sayaka Kurora. Again, she's a perfect fit here. We get the double drop kicks, and we get the hip tosses. I thought Sayaka and Ann here were really great. I like it how they had to use a double team move in the beginning to try to offset the number 1 contender in Suzu Suzuki. That really not only builds up Suzu Suzuki to be like, look, you need 2 people to get the advantage on me, but it really shows how well Ann Kanai is gelling in Cosmic Angels. If she eventually survives these 6 layers of Hercules, as you call the 6 layers of Korora, is that what we're calling, or 7 layers, right?
I think 7 labors. Has to be 7.
Yeah, we're still waiting to see if she's got to like walk a dog or beat a video game or something like that. But regardless, here again, we get some great stuff here with Akira and Kanai. We've seen them have matches before. They have great chemistry, and then we go back to Suzu Suzuki and Sayaka. Again, there's something there that I'm really excited to see in that main event match coming up at the conversion. We get towards the end. We do have Sakura hitting a violent shooting onto Suzu Suzuki, and then we get Ann and Akira. They're like, hey, we've seen our tag partners get really violent. We should get really violent. So we get a really hard-hitting form exchange between Akira and Ann Kanai. We get the waterfalls here. Eventually, though, it is just the familiarity of the teamwork of Suzu and Akira, with Akira hitting the half-out suplex and then the Yarbagi lock, also known as the Gambari lock, tapping out Ann Kanai. 3 3/4 stars for me, my friend.
We move on then to your semi-main event. And again, this was a team that they could have sort of done away with once they lost at Queen's Dynasty. But this team of Soriano and Fuwachan, dude, there is something there. I'm such a fan of the juxtaposition between the hyperactivity of Fuwachan and the cool, calm, collected aura farming of Soriano. That aside, dude, give me Azusa Renaba versus Soriano.
Ooh, yes, absolutely. You're right. And you made the perfect. I was actually listening back to the show we did last week, and I literally was in my car and I laughed out loud when you compared Soriano and Fuwachan to having a dog owner and the dog being a very hyperactive golden retriever. But just I'm like, oh my goodness, that's
exactly what it is.
And then the next day I watched this show and I was just like, Rob is absolutely right. That's exactly where it is, where she's like the cool person that runs the house, Soriano. And I got this dog that just, I got to keep taking outside to burn off some energy.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
Just like, is over the top, loving, like everybody loves this dog, but sometimes the dog's a little bit too much, but they fit in really well. You're absolutely right. Now, do I want to see Fuwachan and Soriano team up more? Absolutely. Do I want to see them eventually be a tag team more than Soripor? No, I don't. And that's just because I think Soripor is one of the best tag teams in wrestling the last 5 years. So, but this again, you need to do something with Soriano. You know, post All-Star Grand Queendom, post Dream Queendom, going into the 5-star. I think it's a perfect fit because it's really entertaining. It gives them something to do, and they work really well together. Ruaka was great. And I mentioned Ruaka is one of the best pure heels in this company because you will pay money to see Bozilla and on one foot punch her in the throat in Yoyogi National Stadium. She's a great heel. She's constantly getting better at wrestling, but she understands what she needs to do. She gets the proper boost. That's one of the many reasons why BMI 2000 did so well, not only for in-ring, but business aspect as tag team champions, because you will pay money to see teams beat them. And she was great here, but you're absolutely right. Azusa Inaba and Soriano was phenomenal. They just seem to gel really well. And considering the fact that Azusa Inaba's 18, 19 years old, something like that, their stuff back and forth was terrific. Eventually, though, we get this really great closing stretch here with Fuwachan and Azusa Inaba. Fua hitting the Shining Wizard for a 2 count. Azusa comes back with that pump kick and then the half-out suplex for a 2 count. And then we have Azusa Inaba lining up Fuwachan, going for that pump kick, also known as the Baba Killer #2. But Fua blocks it and then shouts out to Hazuki Straw, putting away Azusa Inaba. 3 3/4 stars. I thought a really terrific match that hit a lot of beats that they were able to get into on this one, my friend.
Fuwachan in the 5-star?
I think so. I mean, she's on a lot of these shows. Again,
she's been on more shows than I thought she would be, in fairness.
I think there is at least 6 wrestlers that were not in the 5-star this year that should be in, or last year, excuse me, that should be this year. Fuwachan, Maki Itoh, Utami, Maika, Hazuki, and Shuri. And Koguma. So I guess, yeah. So there's 7 right there. Like, who do you take out? Again, Rob, I remember when we did the preview for last year, like, there's too many wrestlers in the tournament. And then when we did our review, you're like, it actually worked. Would not be shocked if there's close to 40 wrestlers in this tournament, because who are you going to take out? And there's at least 5 names that I think you're going to add in. Like, it's just going to be like Micah was in this last year. Peace out, Micah. No, you want Micah in there. Shuri seems to be fit. Of course you want Shuri in there. And I think you want to tease the fact that we can have the first ever 2-time champion because of the fact Suzu won it. Micah won it. Shuri won it. Utami's back. Utami's won it. So you throw on that in with the potential of Saya Kamatani, your biggest star, winning this tournament in Sumo Hall to try to draw 8, 9, 10,000 tickets. Man, there's a lot to go off, buddy. Momo Watanabe as well. I mean, we're expecting Momo hopefully to be back, because Momo is right up there with Mayu and Shuri as far as the greatest 5-star wrestlers ever. So, man, it seems like every other match we're just talking about the 5-star. I don't know if you can tell, folks, we're slightly excited.
Main event then, it was the homecoming match for both Miyu Amasaki and Hanako. Welcome back to Miyu Amasaki, of course, who's missed a couple of weeks of action through illness. And Matt, this was a feel-good closer. But Hanako and Micah did make mention that O2 Line need to watch their backs. They might be coming for them titles.
I like how after the win, they didn't want to challenge right away because we're still owed that FWC
We
title
are.
match. So maybe they just haven't announced anything because maybe they're waiting for Hazuki's run with this run to be over. Again, we think that probably this Saturday is going to be your last match, at least for a little bit. So
Yeah.
maybe then we get the announcement. Maybe it does happen at the conversion O2 line versus FWC. So I like it. Like as much as I love Hanako Mike as a tag team, I think we all want to see that O2 line versus FWC match. It was
Oh, of
teased.
course.
It was supposed to happen. So I think once we get that, I think then the next challengers will be Mike and Hanako. And they set the seeds here, which again, we're all for it. Like we know what we're getting. We know where we're going. By the way, here's the next challengers coming up, which I think was brilliant. What also was brilliant, I like you had your comedy here. Again, I love when Kagama is in the ring, especially on the same team as Rana Yagami, because Rana hates the bear dance. But you know who hates the bear dance even more? Shuri. So Shuri makes an appearance and she's just like losing her mind. I love it. She just
Every time the bear dance is happening, Shuri is there.
every time Koguma is in a match that has she's either teaming or across the ring with some member from God's Eye, especially Rana, because Rana seems to be like her number one understudy, where she's like, no, it's not happening. No, and it just adds to it. Shuri for being so legit is funny. And we've gotten to meet Shuri
Yes.
a few times before. And it's so nice and it's really, really funny. Hence when I asked her to put me in a double wrist lock 2 years ago, and she's like, what? But her comedy stuff is just it just works really well. She wasn't even this match, and yet she was a highlight of it. As great as everybody was, I think I mentioned this about a month ago. I'm going to mention again. We've never seen it happen before. Give me a big Micah versus Starlight Kid match. Oh wow! Considering the fact that like Starlight Kid and Azumi have similar styles, right? And obviously they had a great rivalry and still had great and have great matches. Starlight Kid and Mike are completely different styles, but they're so great and they're so smart that they work so well together. What they were able to complement each other was terrific. And there was that beautiful shot where Micah gives the stalling superplex to Starlight Kid, and when she's hanging in the air with her, you see the background of Kate. It was like beautiful madness, which we'll get into in a little bit. Of Micah and Starlight Kid, which I thought was terrific. Azumi works well with everybody in this match. And we talk all the time. Azumi is one of the most talented wrestlers in all of wrestling. She has a sequence here with Miyu, a lot of it, because it's O2 lines. Like, hey, we're back. Oh, by the way, Azumi and Starlight Kid Starbomb, they're terrific. And hey, Emma, I may as well do some really cool stuff with you because I'm the one that sent the invite out here, which I thought was great. Koguma does all the high-speed stuff well. Everything hits the beats, including the beat striker. See what I did there? But towards the end, it's just Hanako that just runs through Emma, picking up the win on Emma. Considering that Emma got the offer to go to Neo Genesis, and she's like, I got to think about it. And then in 2 shows, drops 2 in a row. You might want to be like, yeah, I'll join before they're just like, you're losing quite a bit. You're going to hurt our average here. But again, I thought Emma worked really well with all the other members here of Neo Genesis, especially Azumi. So I thought this match was really good. My favorite match from the show. I gave it 4 stars. And again, it led to a lot of potential things we have coming up. Which, speaking of coming up, Rob, May Sarah, is she injured? Is that why we haven't seen her?
Yeah, she's off TV at the moment with an injury. We don't know what the injury is. However, she did post something on social media today that just said be patient just for a little bit longer. So maybe we do see her at the conversion. I don't know. Obviously, Uriah Himi's still off TV as well through injury. But yeah, a nice way to close this show. But Matt, a good way to close this episode before we get to what was formerly known as EO and Kairi Watch is now just EO Watch. We have got your favorite thing in the world. It's the world of Joshi Tenable. Now, I have checked and double checked. This is correct. Okay, so for those who don't know, or for those who are seeing this for the first time, Tenable was a British game show where literally you need to come up with lists of 10. So I will give Matt a category. He has got to give me the 10 answers in that category, and he has got 3 lives to do it with. So, Matt, today, what we are looking at is longest individual white belt reigns. Okay, so I want the 10 longest reigns with the Wonder of Stardom Championship. Okay, you've got 3 lives to do it. You know the drill by now. Okay, if you can do it in order, again, what a flex. If you can't, fine. But Matt Turner, off you go, good sir. Who's your first pick going to be?
I might be able to get the first 4 in order. So you're going by only one reign by days, not by defenses.
Just by days, no combined reigns, individual reigns.
Okay, Yuzuki Ayakawa.
With 618, Yuzuki Aikawa is number 1.
Saya Kamatani.
With 480 days, Saya Kamatani is at number 2.
3 and 4. They're both in here, but I'm going to say Momo Watanabe. Is she 3?
With 360 days, Momo Watanabe is number 5.
Ooh, Arisa Hoshinki.
With 368 days, Arisa Hoshiki is number 3.
Huh. I wasn't sure. I knew they were close. Huh. Julia.
With 220 days, Julia is number 9.
Okay. I'm trying to Act.
Act Yasukawa.
Yeah.
With 234 days as champion, Act Yasukawa is number 8. So just for the audio listeners, you've got 1, 2, and 3, 5, 8, and 9. So you've still got to get number 4, number 6, number 7, and number 10.
I think I know who 3 of them are. Is number 4 Kyrie?
With 364 days, it is indeed Kyrie Hojo.
Is Tam on this list? I'm going to say Tam.
You sure?
Yes.
With 301 days, Tam Nakano is your number 7. So you've got to get number 6 and number 10. You've used none of your lives yet.
I know. This is pretty good. How about Io? I know she had 2 runs, but I don't know if anyone was really long.
Her longest reign, Matt, 190 days, puts her 10th by 1 day. So okay. Dark Angel was 189. Io Shirai surpassed that by 1 day to make the top 10 list. So you have just got the 6th person on this list to get with 3 lives left. So you've got Aikawa, Kamatani, Arisa, Kairi, Momo, Tam Nakano, Achi Yasukawa, Julia, and Shirai.
Starlight Kid.
Matt Turner.
They sweep it?
309 days you have indeed clean swept it. Well done. No lives lost. Well done, Gutter. First time I think you have managed to successfully complete Tenable.
And I did it with no strikes, buddy. No,
you did it with no strikes. That's really quite impressive. Speaking of Io Shirai, who of course was number 10 on that list, the final way to close this segment off is, of course, with a little trip to Io Watch.
All right. Thanks to Darren Chatton for giving me time cues. He did tell me 1 hour and 40 minutes. Then he gave me some football stats. No, I'm just kidding. He did not.
Can't do this again.
He did message me. He was very he was happy. I popped him reading that off, and he goes, I was very surprised how well Rob took it. It was
he messaged me to say he was surprised how well I took it. I was like, look, I'm a gentleman, man. I'm a gentleman.
We're used to it. We're used to it. But so we go to Italy as we have a fatal 4-way for basically it's round 1 of the Queen of the Ring tournament. So we have Io versus Julia versus Lash Legend versus Roxanne Perez. I will say this. Obviously, I love Io. I love Julia. I'm a massive fan of Roxanne Perez. Last Legend was the MVP of this match, and it was made to be. She was very dominant in the beginning, and then we get a little bit of teamwork from each of these wrestlers onto Last Legend, and then Roxanne Perez tricks Julia into like, hey, let's team up together to take out Lash Legend. And Julia's like, are you sure? And Roxanne Perez like, absolutely. And she immediately turns on her. I'm like, come on, Julia. Like, you knew that was going to happen. But Roxanne Perez does a great job. She's got like a little sequence with Io, a little sequence with Julia, a little sequence with Lash Legend. The match really didn't last long considering you have 4 wrestlers in there. So everybody does hit their spots. But towards the end, we get the Tower of Doom spot where it's Lash Legend basically power bombing everybody off the top rope. Io is still still kind of on the top rope here, and we do have the last extension, which is her version of almost like a sit out, like a black hole slam. She does one to Roxanne Perez and then another one to Julia. She goes to pin Julia, then Io breaks up the pinfall with the double stomp and then hits the moonsault onto Julia. So a really fast-paced match. Not as long as I would like it to be, considering who was in it, but I thought it worked really well. They did a great job getting Lash Legend over. Io pinning Julia in Italy. By the way, Julia got a massive reaction, was easily the most over person in this match, and then they beat her. But it was Io that beat her, so I'll give them the mulligan on that one. So Io does advance, Rob, to the next round of the Queen of the Ring tournament. Can Io add Queen of the Ring to her already impressive resume? We will find out, folks. We will keep you posted right here on every episode of the Stardom Cast with Dun 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 Io Watch.
Indeed, we will, ladies and gentlemen. That is all for us here this week. We'll be back same time, same place next week with the two shows from the 6th and the 7th of June as we continue on the road to the conversion. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for listening to the podcast. We really, really do appreciate every single one of you. If you haven't already subscribed to the podcast, please consider subscribing on the podcast app of your choosing. We are literally absolutely everywhere. A 5-star review and a comment goes a long way as well. It's also a completely free way to help the podcast out. Patreon.com/World of Joshi, not the Stardom Cast. Got it right this time, Mr. Matt Turner, where you can get all of these episodes ad-free for as little as $1 a month, as well as a whole host of bonus content and entrance to our Predictions League. The conversion is indeed the next show. We will be doing the Predictions League of, closely followed by Summer Sun Princess from TJPW. You can follow us on all social media at WOJ Wrestling. You can talk to me on Twitter at Real Rob Goodwin. Matt Turner, before I start sneezing, because I can feel it coming, my friend, I can feel it. Why don't you sound us off, good sir?
I'll do it as quick as I can. Folks, questions, comments, suggestions, anything you need from me, Matt Turner OF on the Instagram and the Twitter is the easiest, fastest, and bestest way to get a hold of me. Don't forget to follow me on TikTok, M Turner over there as well. Or you can shoot me an email, matt@worldofjoshi.com, as well as the StardomCast22@gmail.com. Folks, that's going to wrap it up for this episode. We greatly appreciate your support. Can't do without you. It's like I always say, just not my podcast. It's our podcast. Because when all together, everybody's different. Everybody's special.